Damn. Hey, what's up, YouTube? JayDub here. I'm going to be talking about this latest episode of Raw, talking about Donald Trump buying Monday Night Raw, and, you know, a couple of other things. But if you just happen to be watching this video right now and you aren't subscribed, go ahead and click that yellow button over there. Thanks. And for the people that are subscribed, I'd like to thank all of you guys. And, yeah, let's get into it. Big news out of this episode of Raw. Donald Trump now owns Monday Night Raw. Vince McMahon sold it to Donald Trump instead of announcing the new Raw general manager as he was supposed to. This segment just totally pissed me off. The segment was very poorly done because Vince McMahon says that he has Donald Trump on satellite, and you can totally tell that he was talking to a fucking tape, and Vince McMahon was out there looking like an old man with like dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, because he's sitting up talking to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is interrupting him and all of this stuff because Vince McMahon was basically talking to a tape. Donald Trump was not on Satellite Live, so that segment was horribly done. And I used to be a mark every time Vince McMahon gets on screen. Used to cheer and everything, but this is 2 times in a row that Vince McMahon has been on Raw doing skits, and the skits have been bad. But yeah, going on to the specifics in this whole new owner of Raw thing, I'm not liking this storyline at all. When I first heard of it, you know, I'm thinking, oh my God, this can be something big. You know, you could see elements, you know, reincorporated in WWE that you haven't seen in a while. You know, this gives them a chance to have a storyline where the whole promotion or the whole, you know, brand is included in the storyline. You know, like how they used to do with the McMahon-Helmsley era, how they used to do with the Invasion storyline and all that good stuff. But they totally fucked it up and totally buried the storyline the same day they announced it, because it just drained every bit of excitement I had from this storyline when they announced Donald Trump bought it, because they could have did a lot more with that. Could have picked somebody like Ric Flair. Could have picked pick Stone Cold, Eric Bischoff, somebody who is connected with the wrestling business. They made it a total and complete joke when they picked Donald Trump. And yeah, next week's episode of Raw is going to be this commercial-free episode. Hopefully they just have Donald Trump on board so he can, you know, beat the press and go on the media tour and talk about the commercial-free episode of Raw, like how he did with WrestleMania 23 with the Battle of the Billionaires. You know, hopefully Vince McMahon is just using him for publicity, and that shows how low the bar is, because Vince McMahon is a publicity whore, and I hate that about him, because he doesn't realize that if you improve your product, everything else will follow. But he cares more about the publicity than he does the product. And that, like I said, that just shows how low the bar is. That I'm wishing that this is just a case of Vince McMahon being a publicity whore. But yeah, hopefully they'll just drop him off after this is all over and done with. But yeah, who would you guys have liked to see be the general manager or, you know, owner of Raw? And yeah, it just seems like all of the cards fell into place for it to be Ric Flair, and it just seems like when you expect things from WWE, you always end up being disappointed. You know that, yeah. But other highlights to come out of this episode: Randy Orton is a new WWE Championship. He's a new WWE Champion. He faced off in a Fatal 4-Way match for the vacated WWE Championship against Triple H, John Cena, and the Big Show. The match went, you know, it ended this way. Triple H pedigree is the Big Show. John Cena does an attitude adjustment on Triple H. Then he goes up in the Big Show, but Randy Orton ends up getting rid of John Cena, and then he does a RKO on the Big Show, and the match is 1, 2, 3 over and done with Randy Orton, new WWE Champion. The match was pretty good towards the last half of the match, but it was kind of slow in the beginning because it's basically like it was 2 matches going on at one time. Randy Orton versus Triple H, John Cena versus the Big Show. Then it's like they weren't trying to do too much because they wanted you to pay attention to everything and not just pay attention to 2 of the guys and ignore the other 2 guys. So it wasn't that exciting in the beginning. But yeah, highlights of this episode: Intercontinental Championship match opened up the show. A great match between Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio. Chris Jericho hit this insane, like, you know, backbreaker drop on Rey Mysterio. That was crazy. You know, that was a great part of the match. It was fast paced all the way through. It ended Rey Mysterio goes and hit the 619 on Chris Jericho, and then he goes to do the West Coast Pop, but Chris Jericho, he messes up Rey Mysterio's mask. Rey Mysterio gets distracted by it. Then Chris Jericho hits the code breaker, 1, 2, 3 win. He retains his championship. And is Chris Jericho like the only man in the world that's like immune to the 619? I've seen him like reverse the West Coast Pop and other moves that Rey Mysterio has done after he hit the 619 on Chris Jericho perfectly. So I'm guessing, like, is he the only person in the whole world that's immune to the 619? Later on in the night, there was a 10-man battle royal to determine who's going to be the number one contender and face Randy Orton at not the Great American Bash, the Bash. And yeah, the guys in the match were Matt Hardy, Big Show, MVP, Kofi Kingston, William Regal, Ted DiBiase Jr., Cody Rhodes, Triple H, John Cena, and The Miz. The last 3 guys in the ring were Triple H, John Cena, and The Miz. The Miz is dumb ass. He was outside of the ring for most of the match. Then when it came down to Triple H and John Cena, he jumps back in the ring. I'm thinking to myself, why would you jump back into the ring when there's 2 guys in the ring? Why not just wait till Triple H eliminates John Cena, or John Cena eliminates Triple H, then you jump in the ring, and while that person is celebrating, you eliminate them. But The Miz, he must not have all of his marbles. He ends up getting eliminated. Triple H eliminates John Cena. Triple H is the number one contender, but it's announced that the new owner of Raw says that the match, I guess, is not going to happen at the Bash. It's going to happen next week live on Raw. Triple H versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship in a last man standing match. Okay. Another highlight of the show, Goldust and Hornswoggle, they come out with the t-shirt cannon, shooting t-shirts and everything, and that's when The Miz comes out, and he, him and Goldust are going back and forth. Goldust calls him the Wiz because he says that's what people go do when The Miz starts talking. The Miz calls him irrelevant and says he hasn't mattered since the 1990s. Then The Miz takes out Goldust. Then he shoots Hornswoggle and the Luck Charms with the t-shirt cannon, and that was like so funny. And I thought this whole segment was going to be a waste, but it was actually funny. And yeah, I don't have too many things to say bad about this episode of Raw, except for one ECW Championship match, Tommy Dreamer versus Christian. That was like a waste of time, and yeah, it was a very quick match, and it wasn't that good at all. But yeah, then Mickie James, she defeated Rosa Mendes. That was nothing noteworthy. Maurice was in the ring and she came down to the ring in like a pillowcase or something. Yeah, so that's where I'll end this video. Comment questions. One, who would you have liked to see as the new general manager of Raw? And I'll think of the other ones and I'll put them in the annotation. Peace out.